And here we are. Blue Street Customs calling us out first thing. Says, "Hey, I would say howdy, but nobody's here." So, and it was 8:59 your time, 7:59 my time.
6:59 my time.
There you go. Welcome everybody to AMC, the Automotive Model Car Channel. Well, first and foremost, my fellow host, Mr. Jason.
Howdy, y'all.
And of course, our awesome, off the scale, better than ever producer, Mr. Bruce from Bruce's Eclectic World.
Greetings, everybody.
Give them the big thumbs up, everybody.
That's right, big thumbs up. Welcome to the show. Today we have what should prove to be a really cool, interesting show. We're going to do something different. I know we've been doing the whole having a guest and everything, but we wanted to change it up a little bit and let you guys know that we're not just here to have guests on. We're here to talk about the hobby. We're here to have fun in the hobby. Obviously, that's what it's all about. And then maybe give you some ideas, some tech tips, and equally as important is get some feedback from you guys about what you might use. So today's show topic is 100% about adhesives, the different glues that you like to use, when you like to use them, what you use them on. Do you use the same glue on a resin product that you use on a styrene product? Obviously, we don't use super glue on clear stuff because it leaves that wonderful haze behind that we don't want to see.
Right.
But so we're gonna all share a little bit about what different adhesives that we use. But before we get to that, we want to talk about the latest and greatest, I guess, if you will, on the old YouTubes for content creators, and that's going to be the USAC build. Has everybody seen what the USAC build is for this year? At least the kit, I should say kits, not kit, but kits that are up for grabs or up to be able to use for the USAC build. Jason, have you seen it?
I have, and I'm pumped. I'm extremely excited. I'm a Mopar guy, and I own a 68 Dart. So when Kim made that selection, I about jumped out of my shoes. I was excited as heck. I personally, I thought that he was going to pick a Nova or something. I knew he would go muscle car, but I thought Nova. And then I thought Chevelle as a second. He threw me for a loop on the Mopar thing. How about you guys?
About you, Bruce?
Same way here. I was expecting something totally different, not a Dart. And of course, I don't have one.
As a follower, I'm like you guys. I wasn't even that sure that he was going to pick a muscle car. I thought, and it's just me and the vibe that I got. I thought he was going to pick a newer Corvette. Something in my mind, and I can't explain why or how, but something in my mind told me he was going to pick like a C7 or C8 or one of those racing type Corvettes. And I'm like, yeah, I was so like bummed thinking about it. And then when I watched the video with Matt and Mark, and of course Kim too, so and he picked that 68, and I was like, not only is that a cool kit, but I have one.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
So without going into detail, we don't want to ruin our exposed videos, but do you guys have a don't go into specifics because that's going to ruin the whole. We're not allowed to talk about exactly what we're going to do, but just a ballpark type of thing. Jason, I know you're big time street racer guy. Are you going to do drag? Are you going to do street? What are you thinking, buddy? Or do you want to share yet?
My thing is, I take drag cars and drive them on the street in real life. So.
Sure.
But for me, I'm torn. I'm torn because I have a couple different slicks decal kits for that body style. So I could go that route. Or is this the opportunity for me to either duplicate my 1-to-1 the way it was before we started to re-bodywork it and paint it? Or is it a way for me to do the rendition of it, of how it's going to look when it's done now? So I have like 4 different things going through my mind.
You got some options.
I've got some options, and I've got to think about these options quick because I got to make a video for the 15th. So,
how about you, Bruce? I know you haven't got your kit yet, but
No, I have not.
You got a ballpark idea of what you're going to do?
Well, I usually build box stock, but it might have some racing influences. I don't know, but I can guarantee one thing: it'll have Createx paint on it.
There you go. There you go.
That's the only thing I can guarantee right now.
Going through their Facebook site, there's a lot of people that have posted a lot of different, and I think we'll use the word inspirations. I actually posted an inspiration on there.
Yeah.
But talking about box stock, Bruce, Dirt Road Cinderella, she posted a picture of basically just kind of like an old. It's a '68, obviously, but it's a there's nothing fancy about it. Still got the old Chrysler or the Dodge hubcaps on it, and it's like stock wheels and whatever. So there's a lot of different people that obviously everybody has their own creativity, their own ideas and stuff. So it's definitely going to be an interesting build. And I'm sorry, I'm not ignoring y'all. I'm just trying to get the chat pulled up here. It's definitely going to be an interesting build for everybody. And there's a lot of different directions to go. If one of y'all don't mind, could you take over while I get the damn chat set up on my phone?
Yeah,
I'm trying to do 5 things at once here.
So I'll say this then too. I know for a fact that I'm going to be printing some parts for my USAC group build. I did for the other one. I'm torn a little bit on the decision on should I print some stuff or should I actually try some resin casting stuff? Because if I go with this other style of motor that I would like to do, I have some old model parts that I would have to resin cast. It'd be quicker for me to resin cast them versus me trying to find files, which I haven't been able to find files, or trying to design a file in a short period of time because I still have lots of other builds going on here, so I don't have the luxury of sitting down at my computer and designing the particular motor at this point in time. So I may try to do a little thing on my channel to get some people to comment on how about to make some resin casted molds, and then I have the parts that I could, use as basically dummies and then make a mold and then pour some resin and have some parts. So I might try something new with my my build.
Well, that's a little disturbing for me because when it comes time for 3D printed parts, I've got 2 guys that I reach out to. We all know my channel sponsor. And then I got my buddy Jason that I reach out to, and I'm like, hey, dude, I need this. All right, I get it. So if you're not going to be able to print parts, then I may be looking at some resin parts myself.
Well, I can print, like I said, I have files done, right? But for this particular motor that is not available, it would take me a long time to sit and design that.
Right.
It's one thing if the file was already created and I just had to put it on the platform and send it to the printer. That's not a big deal. But it's just this particular motor design. It would take me some time to take all the measurements, design the actual file, and then do all that. So for the stuff that you want, Mikey, that's not a problem.
Right. I again, without divulging more than we need to, I have 2 ideas. One I know will work, and one that there's a chassis that's going to be released on a certain website that may or may not sponsor my channel. And I have I'm going to order one of those. So I'm definitely going to build the one. And if you guys, if nothing else, please go to the USAC, the Unified Scale Automotive content creators Facebook channel, and there's a bunch of people that are posting different inspirations, I guess, if you will.
Yes.
Different ideas. I've posted one on there and as well. So there's a chassis that I'm looking at, and then there's another chassis I'm looking at, but we won't get into all that. But I'm the same way with you in that there's a couple different motors. So I know I'm going to build one that I know I can do, and that it's going to work, and then hopefully, and I ain't promising nothing. I'm putting it out there, but I ain't promising nothing. There might be 2 USAC builds coming from the Scale Model Outlaw. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see. But I'm going to leave it alone after that.
See, I thought about that too, but I know already that I'm biting off way more than I can chew. So I'm going to stick with one, the 55 Chev, the Blue Ox Street Machine
Yeah.
build. I still got a ton of work to do on that, so I need to get that done. And then I need to finish the this other kit that I started as well. So I'm not going to even think about trying to do the 2 dart thing. I mean, it'd be awesome, but no.
And I'm in the same boat. I'm in the same boat in that my Blue Ox model shop build is still in the box up there. I am
Yeah.
finishing up the 67 Charger that I've been working on. I am getting really close. Everything, you know how it is, you start out and it's all, it takes so much time, right? Because you're doing everything, and then towards the end, everything starts coming together. And that's
Right.
where I'm at with the 67 Charger. Everything's starting to come together with it. But I'm with
Yeah.
you. I still got to finish that. I got to finish the 60 or the Blue Ox build. I got to finish this coast to coast build. So I'm actually thinking that it may be as late as the first of the year before I start on the USAC build. So that's why I said I wasn't promising nothing. I may not get to the second one.
Yeah. The one thing I will say is very cool that Luca, I think who's the main people that is it Luca, Mark Batson?
I believe now that's unofficial, but definitely they're the ones that announced it as far as
They're
Luke,
the ones
Matt,
that
and
created the whole concept. And
I think so. I think Matt and Luca were working. I don't know who's in, what I'm saying, I don't know who's in charge of
yeah,
what or whatever, but
but
they definitely are
I'm
working
glad that
together.
they extended the date out
Yes.
because for me last year, I don't know what, why, or how. I mean, I started my Street Machine group build before my truck, but I ended up having to park the Street Machine to focus on the truck. And then, because I think the truck was due before the Street Machine. And then I quick went back to the Street Machine and got that done just in the nick of time. I mean, my Street Machine final build was literally the due date. And I know Jason is very, hey, just get it done when you can.
Right.
But to me, it was me trying to set my own goals of completing, because the thing that I don't know, I'll ask you guys this, but I'll tell you my theory on the USAC thing. And that is, I think, their purpose that I love about it is that you're trying to flood YouTube with all this modeling videos out there and getting rid of some of the garbage off of YouTube.
Amen.
Political crap, whatever kind of crap that you just don't want to watch, because if you're on YouTube, you're looking for a good time. You're looking for relaxation. So I love the concept of the USAC thing where everybody's posting all the videos. They're posting all the updates. You got plenty of content to watch. That is what you really want to watch. What do you guys think about this whole concept of the USAC?
Good call, Jason. I was going to ask the same thing. I was going to ask the chat, what do you guys, how are you guys doing on your builds? Are you going to get involved? Are you not going to get involved? What does the chat think? So, but I was not, you're right. I was, well, we talked behind the scenes. I was not involved last year because I was just getting into the whole YouTube thing last year. And that was one that I missed. And looking back, I wished I'd have had gotten in. If I'd have gotten in a month earlier, I probably would have been more engaged, if you will. But I skated in, and I didn't realize I don't even know if I knew for sure what group bills were back then. But Looking forward to it this year, and really, really going to try to do a good job,
Yep.
and be in the group. So just kind of perusing the chat here to see what guys think about sprue goobers.
Jason, the boss is here.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, tighten up. Tighten up. Listen, she's Jason's boss, but she's my girlfriend. She doesn't know that she's my girlfriend, but she's my girlfriend.
She's just finding out right now.
Right? She's probably like, no, I have better taste than that.
She got a great sense of humor.
But Miss Brenda, I do live close to the beach. Just saying.
Yeah, she can be persuaded for the beach. That's for sure.
Right. You told me that. I'm like,
Yep.
ooh, I got a beach 60 miles that way and a beach 60 miles that way. I can hook her up.
I got no beach, so you won.
Yeah, but you got them mountains. And I love them mountains. And you got winter sports. So, but we're chasing rabbits a little bit there. So what are we now? We're about 16 minutes into it. We have a great topic today, or I feel like we do, with the glues and the different types of adhesives. And we're probably going to chase some rabbits, but and that's all part of it, right? And we do that and have fun with it and keep up. But definitely want to start talking about different types of adhesives. So we'll start with you, Bruce. I started with Jason last time. We'll start with you, Bruce. If you're building a model kit and you're a resin guy too, you do resin 3D printing. Talk to us about what different types of adhesives that you use in your average model build, and you can expand upon whether you got resins or not, but tell us what it is you're using.
Well, I use two different kinds of super glue for the resin stuff. Both of them are made by Loctite, and then for the just regular basic models, I use the Tamiya Extra Thin, and I have the Mr. Color Cement Extra Thin, and I have Plastic Duck, in the orange and white bottle. Depending on what I'm doing is which one I use. I tend to use the Tamiya Thin and the Plastic Duck more than anything because it
melts it,
fuses it together.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if it's just something small, you don't. I use the Tamiya in the little orange bottle. I got it right here. And this one.
Oh, I've never tried that stuff.
It reminds me of the old Tester's glue, which, by the way, I found some in Hobby Lobby the other day in the tube.
Yeah, I still use the orange tube stuff on certain parts.
Yeah, so that's just a certain part stuff. I also use Gorilla thick glue. So it's like I said, for just general body stuff or doing the engines, I usually use the Plastic Duck.
Okay. Yeah. To me,
for resins, you have to use super glue.
Right.
I mean, unless you all got something different. Our chat out there's got something different, which I'm not seeing yet.
What about you, Jason? What do you use?
Some people use CA on everything, but for me, I use the mixture like Bruce. I use the CAs for all the resin parts, and of course, I use a lot of the Bob Smith, styles. We got the different curing, and then I also use the Loctite stuff as well. I use the 401, and then I use this this 480 as well. It's black. It's a little bit thicker for filling gaps. So I like that as well, especially with the resin stuff. If it's a little warped or whatever, it can kind of fill that gap a little bit. But then I'll use the Tamiya thin on, certain styrene parts, like gluing the block halves together. If it's not a resin motor, I'll use the Tamiya thin. The wintergreen plastic, I use the plastic strut. I like that plastic strut to melt that wintergreen plastic. I don't know. I get a real good bond. I've used CA glue on that wintergreen plastic, and if I bumped it wrong, it would literally break it apart again. So I've had better luck with the plastic strut on that wintergreen. How about you, Mikey? What do you prefer?
Well, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have a laundry list, and as we were talking, I've been pulling out some of the different types of stuff that I have. My go-to is the same as you guys, the Loctite stuff. I have the red is I believe the red's the thin, the blue is the thick, and then the gray, if you will, is the kind of in between. I have been really lucky, and I'm gonna put this out there, but he's not a sponsor of the show or nothing, but he is a great guy. Rob's RC or Bob's Hobby and RC. He sells Icky Sticky products, so he's like the only one that's currently going on right now. But I've had their quick cement, which is very, very similar, and in my opinion works a little bit better than the Tamiya. But the Tamiya is a great product as well. I mean, either one will work fine, but Bob's RC, he has that icky sticky stuff. Talking about CA glue, they sell that as well. And then the Tamiya regular, basically the liquid glue that comes on the brush. But the one that I really would like to talk about, because I knew everybody's going to, talk about their Sure Enough adhesives when they're putting it down. The one that I would like to bring up is the old clear Elmer's for mock-up.
Okay.
When you're mocking up something, this stuff works great, especially if you guys do any custom work and you're trying to get the motor in there right. You've changed the chassis around, you're changing things around, and you want to put that you want to hold it in place so you can turn it upside down and check out what's going on. This glue, and I've heard the white glue, and same way with the Mod Podge, is it's washable, right? So it'll pop back off. It'll hold it in place. It's not a permanent fix, but it's a really, really cool product to use. Yeah, canopy glue.
I use that too. Yeah.
I said Bob mentioned that a while ago.
I like the canopy glue for anything that I'm going to glue windshield wise or anything close to the windshield. I'll use the evergreen canopy glue. I've had really good luck with it. Even the Elmer's, because it's so thick, if you choose the Elmer's to hold your glass in and you do get a little bit on the windshield, it's not that it doesn't work.
I've used that too on the windshields.
Yeah, that's good stuff too. The one that I can tell you that you don't ever want to use because they lied to you is, and I love Loctite products, but the Loctite glass super glue says it doesn't leave a film behind. Liar, liar, pants on fire. You do not want to put that. It's great glue, don't get me wrong, but you do not want to put that on anything clear. It will leave a residue behind.
Yeah, I've never even seen that stuff before.
I got a tip from a friend that said that it worked, and it does work. It'll hold the glue in place, but if you hold the piece in place and do what it's supposed to do, but if you get any unclear, it's going to leave a residue.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I forgot Mod Podge. I use it all the time.
So something else I wanted to talk about and see if there's anybody else that does it as well. But the Instaset, it's CA Instaset. You got yours right there too. The Instaset if you don't know this, also works on your super glues.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anything
I use it.
CA based, it will work.
Okay, I didn't know that. To me, I found that out all by myself, and I thought I was a genius. But apparently, everybody knows that, and I'm just
Yeah.
that
Well,
guy.
so Loctite does have their version of that, but it's in a little aerosol.
Oh, and it gets
So
everywhere.
then it sprays everywhere. So
Right.
with the
Yeah,
Bob
this
Smith,
one's
you got control. You can dip it or you can just squirt it a little bit, you know.
this one's the same way, and that's why I got, again, not a sponsor, but they still have great products. The CA activator from Icky Sticky.
Yeah.
Uh, that one I can tip my, if we're doing something small, I can dip my Q-tip in there or my little toothpick or whatever, and it works very well as well. But I do have
Hey,
something different for you guys. How many of y'all have seen the old trick, sprue glue? That always works well, but how many of y'all have seen the old trick where you glue something together and you got that big gap in there or a hole in there, and you've seen guys take what was it, baking soda, and then put glue on it?
Yep.
Have y'all seen that?
Yep.
Well, Q-Bond is an automotive product. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it or heard of it, but Q-Bond
No.
is an automotive product that essentially does the same thing, and it's very, very, very sandable. So it's basically you get two bottles. I don't have the other bottle of the pieces, I guess you will say, or the fibers, but you put the fibers down, they kind of fill your hole, and then you put the glue on top of it, sand it smooth. Super. They use it primarily on plastic parts, and where we used it in the automotive world was broken mirrors. You know, the plastic mirrors. So
Yep.
somebody would hit in the Jeep world, they'd hit a limb or something and crack it or break it or knock a chunk out of it, and they got the chunk back. We were able to pull the guts out of the mirror, put the piece back in there, and then glue it from the backside, and it's almost like it was never there, and it works very, very well on what we do.
Nice. This is another one that I've used for filling gaps. This is what Don Yost used to use. Yeah. So that one works really good. Here's another one. I don't know if you guys use this stuff, but I love this stuff too. And this is the Bob Smith 5-minute epoxy.
That
This is
I've not
what I
used it.
use for my magnets. When I glue my magnets into my plastic for the hoods and stuff, I use this stuff right here.
I've got I think, and maybe y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Hobbytown stuff is
That's Bob
basically
Smith.
yes, Bob Smith stuff. So I've got this when I first started getting back into it and found this stuff, I didn't know, and I've got the Bob Smith stuff. Talking about just brush on thin glue. The Hobby Lobby stuff works very well too. I got both of these from Hobby Lobby.
Yep.
And then of course you got, and I see that Kevin Smith is in here, and he probably knows because he's been around long enough. Maybe there's some others that knows. I am I correct in saying that the Faller is the same thing as the old testers that came in these bottles, or is that not true? I don't know. It looks and works very well the same, but testers came out with these types of bottles as well. So
I've never seen those bottles before.
yeah, they got the needle on them. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I liked about them. They got the needle. You pull the cap off.
Yeah.
See
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and they got the expert. They call it the expert, which means you must be really fast, or else it's going to
Okay.
glue where you don't want it.
Yeah.
And then they got the super expert, which says if you put this down, that's where it's going to be.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith just put up a post that said JB Weld 2-part epoxy sticks, makes great filler, and it doesn't shrink, and it works great on plastic.
Yeah, I think I've heard that too. That the JB Weld products work good too, but I've never tried that.
I've never tried it.
Yeah, the Cubon stuff doesn't stink. It's basically super glue and some sort of fiber that they use, but you can't forget, and we have to bring it up. We're in the modeling world. We're all over the age. Most of us are over the age of 30. And I actually was at Hobby Lobby the other day and looked at it. And if their labeling on the bottle was still the same, I actually would have bought some just to put it up there. But the old red bottle of testers. How many of us have used that? I told the story in our first video where
Yep.
I used a whole bottle of it on one kit.
Oh yeah. And
But
then what was the blue? Is it the blue one that smelled like lemon?
They did come out with one later on that was supposed to be non-toxic, so people wouldn't
Yeah.
huff it.
Yeah, and that sucker seems strong versus that orange one or the red one.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
But it
Jason,
didn't
I need
really
you to hold down the show for a second because I've got to go pay the water bill. I don't know how many of y'all heard. I literally ran home from work and ran in the front door. And I was like, "Kiss mama on the way by," said hi to the dogs, and ran in here. So
A guy
I
gets
gotta go
the job,
pay
a
the
guy
water
gets
bill.
the job and he can't find no
I
time
know
to
I got
play
one
with hobbies
job.
no more.
One job. But
Man.
I'll be right back, Jason. I know you can hold down
Yep.
the fort. I'll be right back.
So Bruce, do you play with any of the 5-minute epoxies? Have you ever used any of that on any of your builds?
Not on any of my builds. I've used it on computer stuff to fix computer things.
Okay.
And that's all I've ever used it for, but I'm going to have to try that. I got a couple things that I could probably use that on.
I find it to work really good with, the metal versus plastic. You can hide that, kind of like what Kevin said there in the JB Weld, right? You can fill up the hole, and then just once it gets really good and hard, you can file it and sand it, and then you don't even know it's there. I think the JB Weld is probably a better product than this, but it works the same. You'll like it if you try it. It stinks, though. It does stink. So
I got to hang on a second. I'll get my.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bob. That blue tube is worse. I didn't even find that the blue tube even, really bonded the plastic as well either. And maybe that was just me, but I couldn't stand that blue tube.
I use the Loctite twin tube epoxy.
Okay. Yep. Yeah,
that's what I use.
Yeah.
I thought it was Loctite, but I didn't want to say out of turn.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of times some of that stuff is pretty close. It's just different cure rate times or whatever. But
it says 5 minutes, but I've seen it dry quicker. The older it gets, the faster it dries.
Yeah. I know some other guys that I met this summer at one of the model car shows that was at the 50s. Those guys were saying that they use the actual fiberglass resin from their big cars. They'll use that resin to glue anything metal to the plastic bodies, and it gets really hard. And then they can sand it and prime it, and they don't have any issues because they're used to using that on the one-to-ones. So I've not done that yet either. I do know that there's guys that use that, just like I do use the real Bondo from the one-to-one on these because the stuff
I got a big can up there.
It's just
that big around.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, if you get the smallest little can of Bondo, it's going to last you a lot of models. A lot of models. And then Mikey's got some other stuff.
That's the little can.
Well,
yeah.
Talking about the Bondo stuff, and I recently turned my drawer upside down, so I don't know. Oh, there it is.
You're using
got the old glazing putty, that everybody uses. There's nothing wrong with this. It works very, very well. I have found, again, probably the applicator's mistake, not the product's mistake, but I have found where it will leave some pinholes. All right, so
Don't do that on cars.
A friend told me about the green 3M stuff that is really, really smooth. It's not much of an adhesive as much as it is a filler, but
Can you tell everybody the part number in case they're...
Yeah, it's 3M acrylic green glazing putty, part number 05096. I got it at my local paint and supply store, but I'm sure you can buy it online, and it probably may even be cheaper that way. Very, very good stuff. I would, if I had my choice, because these both do the same thing, right?
Yep.
And if I had my choice, I would get this one only. Not that this one doesn't work. The red one still works, but I would choose the green one if I was going to buy one, because you're less likely to have some issues.
So
Now
now
go ahead.
with that green stuff being at 3M, you don't have to add a hardener to it, right? It's
Yeah,
ready.
right. That's a one stage. Now, when I get ready to, again, I tore my, um, when I get ready to smooth stuff out, I mean, like on the Pacer, when I took out the back windows, and I really wanted to get it smooth and keep the body lines. This is a two-part dolphin skin, or dolphin glaze is what they know it as.
Yep.
This is very, very thin, and it's a two-part. You have to add hardener to it, but it is amazing. It works very, very well. You know, I it this thing, it wasn't cheap. For this and two hardeners was probably $25, but
Yep.
it's I don't even know how many ounces. 440 milliliters. I've done probably 10 kits with it, and I could probably sell it as brand new right now. I mean,
Yeah.
it takes a drop of it and a little drop of hardener. You will have to experiment a little bit on the hardener part of it, because it's like the hardeners. Well, those hardeners, they say that much hardener will do that whole bottle I was just showing.
Okay.
So you got to make sure that you just put a little bit of this stuff in there, or you're really, really fast.
Yeah.
But for the average, everyday thing, that 3M green acrylic stuff works very, very well. The I have found that the Tamiya, anything that's based in water, shrinks entirely too much.
Yeah.
The the automotive based stuff, everything's going to shrink, but it doesn't shrink near as much. The Tamiya and the I've got a
AK.
couple of those. Yeah, the Tamiya, the Perfect Plastic by Deluxe. That's the Tamiya, and then the Valero, or yeah, the Valero, the same people that make the paint.
Yeah.
That
The
stuff
Vallejo.
works good. It does work good, but you need to be prepared to fill it back in after they're done. What I do like about these guys, though, is that little needle point that they got on there. So if you're doing like a
Oh
seam,
yeah.
and just you can lay it right in there, but it's going to shrink. These things shrink immensely compared to the automotive stuff. Like I said, everything shrinks, but nothing compared to what the automotive stuff. The automotive stuff is pretty much a one and done type of thing.
To me, the other thing I like about the automotive stuff, and let's face it, we all have mistakes, but you do all that time and body work, and then something happens with the paint job. Then you got to purple pond it or whatever you use to clean it. The automotive stuff is going to take a beating and stay on the body. The hobby
You,
grade stuff usually leads with the paint job. So
if I didn't know better, Jason, I'd say you were picking a nerve. So if any of y'all, and I know why Jason went there, he just walked me like a horse right to the right to the dragon that's going to eat me. If any of y'all have seen my Volkswagen build, I put a wide body kit on it. It was awesome. Everything looked good. I worked so hard to get it on there and get it right, and took the Tamiya. Uh, I guess it's water based, and correct me if I'm wrong, but water based filler, and sanded it all down and filled it back again because it shrunk, and I had it perfect. And then I laid my primer down on my first coat of paint, and I screwed it all up. So I ended up having to drop that Volkswagen into the purple pond, and it not only took the paint off, but it took every bit of the bodywork off. And that is 100% when I started looking for something else. I still use the water based stuff, here and there, if there's, um, you know, if there's a hole on the side of the body that you maybe an emblem goes into, and you're not using the emblem or something, it's perfect for that. You smooth it off; it stands really nice. But
Yep.
yeah, if you're doing sure enough body work, you better get to the automotive stuff, because if you don't and you have a problem, it will peel that stuff. It'll peel that off. The purple pond will peel off the Tamiya and the acrylic or the water based stuff before it pulls the paint off.
Yeah.
So thanks for
Especially
picking
with
that nerve, old buddy.
that bug. I mean, you had a lot of time in that body work. You know, when you're trying to blend in all those flares like that, that's a lot of time. There's a lot of sanding. You know, that had to have been pretty sad moment.
Oh, it broke my heart. It broke my heart. The good
Yeah.
news is I'd used some of the Loctite glue, so the flares were still there. It was just where everything met. And for me, the part that broke my heart the most is I worked so hard on the underside. You flip the body over, right? And now you got the wide body kit on
Oh,
there.
you did it underneath too.
I did underneath there where the wide body kit met the old. So I had all that smoothed out. I had really worked hard on it. At the time, Dylan from NYC models, he was
NY,
building
yeah,
his, and he's doing such a great job. And I'm like watching his videos, trying to keep up. Right, like we're building it at the same time. I don't know
yeah,
Dylan, but I watch his
right.
videos. I'm a fan. And so I'm trying to he's building this thing, and it's awesome. And we use the same Tamiya kit and the same black box wide body kit. He did by
Okay.
the sunroof, and I didn't. But I'm like, oh, if he's putting that out, I got to make sure mine's good. And I stuck it in that purple pond, and all that was gone. I was like, oh, broken heart, broken heart. I still
Yeah, I
think he
mean,
did I still think he did a better job than I did, but I was
just
very, very happy with Volkswagen.
that's the thing. You know, when you were doing the bug, and then you said something in one of the lives that Dylan was doing one, I had to go over there and check it out because I mean, I've
His
always watched Dylan's channel, and his builds are very
Oh, he's
detailed.
amazing.
You know,
He's a very amazing,
puts a
great
lot
builder.
he puts a lot of effort and pride in his
Yeah.
builds. So it really, you know, when you watch guys do that, even though it might not be your taste or your flavor that you personally like, but you
You still
can really
appreciate it.
appreciate
Yeah.
what they're going through, and you can learn from that. So I love watching Dylan's videos. They're amazing. So
Yeah, I watch Dylan a lot. I try to watch, and I said this earlier before we went on. This whole work thing getting in the way of my hobby, but I do have some guys. I mean, Mark Batson. I know everybody talks about him, but the reason they talk about him is because he is so good. And of course, I'm a roundy round guy, race car guy, and that's what he builds for the most part as well. He builds everything, but uh,
right,
watching him and taking tips from him. So it's so cool to be able to watch guys like Dylan. Like I said, Dylan he don't know me from Adam's house cat, right? But
right.
I'm working my butt off to try to not really keep up
Keep
with
paying.
him as much as he's doing a good job. I want to do a good job too, and it was really cool. His did come out way better than mine though. His is super cool.
That bug turned out really good. It
Yeah, I was
really
super happy with it. The bug brought us home the bronze from Pamscom, so I was very happy with it.
nice.
It actually beat out my 54 Hudson, which I thought was a better build, but it is what it is. But
Oh, really? That thing beat out the Hudson?
it did. It beat the Hudson. The
Wow.
Hudson brought home a silver. The uh, Iceman Collections Uncertainty brought home a silver. The Bug brought home a bronze. Yeah.
Wow.
Now I can totally understand why the Iceman Collections uh, Uncertainty only brought home the silvers, because I stayed up for 2 days building it. So probably closer to the end it kind of fell off, but I
It's
put
still that
video.
the uncertainty turned out really well. You know, it turned out really good.
But
You know,
but you could probably tell like it didn't have the headlights on it. I kind of rushed it there at the end, but I had been up for 2 days and still had to drive all the way down there. So That was like the 48-hour build. The 48-hour build that I did is a 50-50 car. Looks good from 50 feet away or 50 miles an hour.
Yeah. Then that's when you met Norm, right? From Half
Yeah,
Ass
yeah,
Mountain
yeah.
Garage.
Pam's Con. I got to meet Norm and Chris and of
Oh,
course,
you met Chris down there too?
yeah, Chris. Was it House of Plastics? Is that right?
House of Plastics, yeah.
Yep. You got to meet him, and of course, old Tom was down there too. You got to hang out with him and met some new people down there. It's a good time. It's a good show. That's Pam's Con is a small show per se compared to like an Acme or an NL East or whatever. But it's a very cool show in that it's small enough to where you actually get to spend time with people and hang out with them and
Yep.
talk and good time. Same way with JaxCon. Um, like honest to God, Jason, if you were to ever come this way, or you either Bruce or anybody for that matter, that's in the central part of the country or the western part, obviously Acme is going to be the one that's the big one. But if you
Yeah.
get an opportunity and you want to really just kind of hang out and be able to relax, JaxCon is a awesome show. It's got all the cool stuff, and there's a lot of cool people that come to it. But it's
Yep.
not so big that you get lost in the shuffle.
So you actually have basically more time to socialize with other builders then? Okay.
100%. 100%. Yep.
So is
Yep.
JaxCom strictly automotive, or do they let anything in there like sci-fi and planes and military?
They let everything in. They do let everything in. And but when I was there, automotive was it if it wasn't 45%, it was every bit of 40% of what
Okay.
was there. Yeah. So it was, so there was an equal, there was a lot of military armor and that sort of stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong, and somebody may know better than me, especially if like somebody like Fred Henry or Brian are in here, they'll know. I believe it's an IPMS show. I don't know that, but I believe it is. And but so they got a little bit of everything, but it's not, and it's not such a giant thing that it's not like walking through Central Station where you just bump into people, say hi, and move on to the next one. You actually get a
Right.
chance to hang out and talk to people. So
Well, that's
that's where
cool.
I met Fred and Brian, and it's the first time I met old Tom, and there was a lot of really really cool people there. So it's a good show. If you
Yeah.
want to socialize, that's the one to go to.
Nice. That's pretty cool. For me, when I went to NNL North, that was the closest big show for me for this year that I could fit in the schedule, and I met a lot of great builders, and it was really cool to actually sit and talk like we're doing here about glues or paints or technique. But then when they have their model on the table, they go, "Oh, come here," and then they take you over there and they explain it and see. I had this challenge, and this is why I did it this way, and then you can get a good visualize, oh yeah, I understand what you're saying now. So
Helpful criticism.
Yep.
In constructive criticism is great.
Yep.
You don't want somebody talking crap about your stuff. And I'm kind of blowing his horn a little bit, but old Tom has been such a great. I mean, he's a great builder. Anyway, you guys have seen his stuff. If you haven't seen old Tom stuff, go check it out. Old Tom, Rambler 69. But he and Rick was there. Yep, I met you there too, Rick. Great show.
Hey, Rick.
But Tom is very helpful in that he'll show you on your model. Okay, you could have done better here, or you could have done this, but only if you ask him. He's not going to critique your model if you don't ask him to. And there at Pam's Con, I did, right? Because that was the second sort of kind of big show that I went to that he was there. And I'm like, okay, Tom, you've seen what I'm building. I absolutely think the world of what you're building. How can I get, and I can put two together, mine next to his and see that mine doesn't compete. What can I do better? And that's when he's like, Mike, you got to work on your paint. Your paint's not there yet. I wasn't even using clear coat. He's like, what clear coat are you using? I'm not using clear coat. He's like, oh my God. Okay, let me help you out with that. So
Yeah.
super helpful, and everybody's that way though. I mean, as far as for the most part, not everybody, but
That's the thing with old Tom.
they're everybody's trying to be helpful.
Yeah, and old Tom is just, he's so supportive to everybody's channels too. So, I mean, he comments on most of my videos all the time.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it when he, leaves any kind of like comments as far as like, critiquing stuff. He does it in a way of, you should try this, or,
Yeah.
it's positive, right? It's a positive. I do it this way too, or whatever. I mean, and I've seen him comment on other things, and he's nothing but the most positive person on YouTube to try and boost everybody up to keep building and keep creating content,
Sure.
So I love that. He's definitely one of the gentlemen on my list that I want to shake hands with and sit and, get to know.
And like I said, I had that opportunity twice.
You're lucky.
And
Yeah.
went to lunch with him. Like I said, I put it in my last video that old Norm from Half-Ass Model Garage, which that's the best name ever. I wish I'd have thought of it first.
Right.
That's a great name. Norm
Yeah.
and I and old Tom and some others, we all went out to lunch there at PamsCon, and just great time, great people, and and Tom, like you said, Tom's that guy. He's just positive, 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 positive. He's not the guy that's going to, like you say, he's going to comment on your videos. He's not the guy that's going to get probably in one of these lives, to be just completely honest, because he's not that guy, and he's had some bad experiences. But hopefully, with ours or in others, that because the whole thing is changing, that he comes back around and does that. But he was telling me that he uses 2K. When I saw him at PamsCon, and you painter guys can you have to elaborate on this for me, because I'm just regurgitating what he said. He's using 2K primer and coming up from 2K primer. I didn't even know 2K primer was a thing.
Yeah. I've never used 2K primer on a model.
He's doing it.
Wow.
I mean, he's like, yep, I'm using it, and it's a lot more work, but the results are better. And he's like, he basically told me in the politest old Tom way that you're not there yet, but
he was using, or
do what?
Did he say?
He didn't say the brand. No, he didn't. He didn't say the brand or what types or whatever. But he was telling me that, and his paint jobs.
They're remarkable. Yeah,
they're remarkable. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I've not seen anything that, he'll say that on some of his videos. Oh, it's just an average build or whatever. It's like, yeah, whatever. Those things are all showstoppers. Everything together is a showstopper.
And he's not the only one. There's a lot of great guys out there that are helping out and getting involved. And the whole secret, like if I'm using this over here, I'm not telling you about it. That's all. I can't say it's all gone to the wayside, but for the most part, it's gone away now, especially with YouTube, because everybody's putting their stuff out there on YouTube anyway. So, and I understand that back in the day that was the thing. Like if you created, we'll say you found this bottle of thin CA glue from Icky Sticky, right? You're not telling anybody about it because that's making yours better than everybody else's, and you're winning competitions. Now everything's out in the open, and it's great to be able to have that exchange back and forth, whether it be old Tom, Fred or Brian or Bruce or me or you or everybody that's out there. It's great that everybody's sharing all that information.
Well, even so, I don't know about you guys, but I listen to the Scale Model podcast, with Luca, Jason, Chuck, and BG. And I listen to that mainly at work, right? So if I got some projects and it's noisy, I can put my earbuds in and I can have talk radio on there. And those guys will get into great detail as well about, techniques that has worked for one may not work for the other. And it's very interesting when you start listening to it, because there's been times where one will say, man, I don't know how you get that to work because it just don't work for me. And then they'll go into great detail, So that's something that I love about this hobby in itself, is that people are very open to try and help other people learn what they may be doing wrong in a very, constructive way, like you said earlier, not like bashing them. Where you get into some of the one-to-one stuff, it's very secretive, right? If you're not part of the cliques and the groups, you may not get some of these inside tricks or tips, or what may have chemical reactions with each other. It can be very cutthroat if that's
It
what
can
you
be.
want to say. Even
Yeah.
RC can be that way as well. I mean, it's somebody will hit on something and it's like, nope, I'm not telling nobody.
Right, because it gives you a competitive edge.
Yeah.
Right? If you're competitive, that's your edge.
Yep.
Now, talking about the Scale Model Car podcast, they have it. Like I said, I enjoy that as well and listen to them, and fans of all the guys that are on there, and have been blessed to meet, at least this way, as far as video wise, meet them. Met Jason in person. But they also have, and I'm going to put this out there, they also have just started a Discord. So it's kind of open to everybody. You can go on in the chat, or you can actually go on cam. And if you haven't done it yet, check it out. The Discord's really cool. It holds a bunch of people, and you're basically, if you're building, go to that Discord. It's a free app. You can just, it doesn't cost you nothing. Check it out, and then you might go on there and meet new people. I actually met Elliot. Elliot is from Scale Effects. Super nice guy, great builder, and he builds all kinds of really cool stuff. And I met him on there. Just a really nice guy, and he's sending me an awesome gift too, which is cool. But that's not why I mentioned him. But he's just the whole time we were talking, I was doing the interior on the '67 Charger, and it automatically, when I went into the room, he had his camera up, and his camera was like over his head, so he's shining down on what he's working on. And be darned if he wasn't working on that same Porsche that I built for the Porsche group build.
Nice.
But he was building the Hoskawa or whatever, Hoskagawa, whatever kit. Yep. And he was building it like it was supposed to be. Like I painted mine black, and it's supposed to be a yellow one. Yep. And the whole time that we're talking, he's got, you can see his hands in his kit, and he's rubbing on this thing. He's rubbing on this thing. And I'm looking at that thing going, my God, that thing's shining like a diamond in a goat spot. He's like, no, I got a little bit of something back here. I'm like, not on cam, you don't. That thing looks like $1 million. But what a really nice guy, man. What a really nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, all them guys that, are kind of in that group, if you want to call it, they're all great dudes. The only one that I personally have talked to out of all of them has basically been, of course, Jason,
Well, that's the thing about the Scale Model podcast Discord is it's open to anybody that listens to the show. Like you have to watch the show to get the details. Yeah, but it's open to everybody, so you can go in there. It's like this, but it's kind of open ended. You know what I mean? You can learn a lot of stuff from it and get some stuff from it.
Yeah, I don't know that I have that app on my phone. I'll have to look. But
their Facebook, so they got a Facebook site. That's where they announced it, was on their Facebook site. Yeah,
that's cool.
And like I said, it doesn't cost anything. You can go in there. You can download the Discord app. It takes a little bit of space on your phone, and you don't. If you're not a cam guy, you can face it at the wall. You can face it at your work. You don't have to have it on you. There's a chat section in there. Really, really cool. Just a great opportunity. I've been like so curious about it and excited about it that I've been going in there pretty often trying to look for new faces. And like I said, that's where I met Elliot from Scale Effect. And he's a friend of Billy Strange. Billy's a great guy. So they know each other. So it's like you make different connections that way.
That's another thing I was going to ask you the other day, and I forgot was what was the Scale Effects first name, because he's commented on a few of my videos too. He seems like a great guy too.
Real talk, I didn't know his first name until I met him on the Discord. So that's nice. This is a great way to get to know somebody. And he comes up as Scale Effect, whatever. Yeah. But he introduced himself. We got to have a one-on-one chat, just talking to each other. And he's not been in the hobby for 1,000 years. He's a younger guy from the math I was doing in my head. He's a younger guy, but he'll build, from what I understand and what he was telling me, he'll build anything from a sci-fi to a ship to an airplane. He was working on that Porsche,
Okay.
and it just a really cool and and Billy even said so. Billy met him, not that he needed a validation, but Billy said he met him at one of the shows because they all live out there on the west side. And
Yep.
Billy said he met him at one of the shows, and he's like, he's building some extremely nice stuff. So
Nice. That's nice.
but,
Yeah, no, that's cool. I try to listen to theirs first, and then there's a couple other Minnesota-based podcasts on Spotify that I'll try and sneak in on at work. But for the most part, I listen to the Lucas and Jasons and all theirs. And then there's a couple Minnesota guys that they're kind of just getting their podcast thing going. And that's kind of one of the things, like when we talked 4 months ago, when I told you, hey, we should do a podcast, it was because, I thought, well, look at these guys. They were learning, right? These two Minnesota guys. And, there's growing pains, but you got to start somewhere.
absolutely.
But then, of course, for RC, there's a few podcasts, and there's one out of Minnesota here that they call Ran Out of Talent. And I've known Joe Zaire Jr. for such a long time. And sometimes it's just very entertaining because Joe, if you knew him personally, he's a character. He's a real character. So sometimes if you're in a bad mood at work, you put that one on, and Joe will kind of put a smile on your face. So it's kind of good.
I'm kind of surrounded by characters. I got you and I got Bruce over here. So whenever I'm the same way, whenever I'm at work and I need a good laugh, I listen to you two characters. Well, I think we've officially reached our longest or we can't call it a podcast. Let me tell you that. I've been told that we're doing a podcast for them, but it's not a podcast. So, but we have reached our longest live so far at 102. Is that 102 minutes? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 1 hour, 2 minutes, 26 seconds. So we tried to promise to keep this thing short, but absolutely on the adhesives, guys. There's so many good products out there. Let us know via email, or you can. We're a vlog. Okay, Jason Rasdom says that Josh Rasdom says that we are a vlog. Okay, that could be. Okay, I'll take that.
Mike, do you want to announce some of the headway we got here, where they can reach us now via email?
Absolutely. Now you're going to put me on the spot, and I'm going to remember. Oh, is it the model car video? Yes. We have a new Gmail. It's Bruce. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm probably going to say it wrong. Modelcarvideos.gmail. Is that right?
Yes.
I got it right. Dude, I told you I ran in here to start this thing 5 minutes before we went live. And Bruce was like, we got a Gmail. I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
But
modelcarsgmail.com.
Bruce, you're going to have to, as the producer, Bruce, you're going to have to make sure Mikey can get his Thursday schedules at work done so that he can get home in time.
Okay.
I told them he couldn't have lunch today. They didn't listen.
I feel bad, so now I have to confess the total truth. All right. So my new work schedule says I need to be there from 7 in the morning till 5:30 in the evening. Now I ain't gonna lie, 5:30 in the evening, 45-minute drive home. It does give me plenty of time. But guess whose sorry butt woke up at 7:11 this morning and had to text his people to let them know, y'all get started. I'm running late. So I had to. For no reason.
up late playing with his model cars, and he didn't go to work on time.
In part. But what I quickly found out is on my Android, if I'm watching and fall asleep to YouTube videos, it bypasses the alarm and shuts the alarm off. The alarm
Oh.
won't override the YouTube. So there you go. I'm guilty. Y'all got me. It's all good though.
No, it's all good. You got to make money, right?
You got to make that money. And I had to go in there, and I was a half an hour behind. It's my third week on the. I was closer to 40 minutes behind, and it's my third week on the job, and everybody's looking at me like, "What the heck?" Like, I know. That won't happen again.
That information, everybody. Basically, this is going to be the start now, being that we're setting up the show's own private email. We will have the show will eventually have its own channel. So just keep your eyes out for it. We will put links, or we will have a flyer that we will all post on our channels to try and steer people that way that like what we're doing here, and so that it will come up for the show. So and
So
again, thanks, Mr. Bruce, because Bruce is really the one that's doing a lot of this legwork for us. He's
he really is. He really is. Bruce
he's
has got
a gentleman on this deal. So
I'm going to spill the beans a little bit, but Bruce, as soon as we can figure out how to do it, Bruce has a awesome introduction video that we just can't wait to show you guys. Again, like Jason was saying, we've got some growing to do. We got some things to do. Once we get to once the channel has its own, or once the what did he call it? The vlog. Once the vlog has its own channel, we'll still be able to broadcast them to ours. Obviously, right now we're working off of mine, but we want to share the love with all of Jason's people, all of Bruce's people, and you guys share the love as well. We're going to get there, and then we're going to have some awesome introductory videos. We're growing. We're excited about you guys being here. We see a lot of the same faces, which means you guys like it. If you come back, return customers is always a good thing. Share the love with your friends, people that are into modeling. We'd love to have them all in here. The questions are awesome. Bruce takes care of those guys for us, and eventually we'll be able to post your questions up, and maybe have a couple shows where we're literally just answering chat's questions. We'll get to that as well. We do have some things coming down the line that not necessarily nailed down, but we have a lot of people that are interested in being guests. We have a lot of tech stuff that Jason, Bruce, and I are kicking around. We want to bring to you guys some of it. Somebody that's done this kind of thing before. It might be old hat, but there's a lot of new people in here too, and we want to share, what we know, what we've learned, and get stuff, information from you guys. If we consider this the foundation, we're pouring a foundation right now, and then we can build off of that. So can't thank you guys near enough. The chat, Bruce, you sir are the man. I can't wait to be able to display your awesomeness, and we look forward to moving forward. But we have officially had our longest vlog tonight, so we're gonna let you guys go. Jason, Bruce, if you guys want to sign off, I'll close it out and we'll be done.
See you guys all on the next one. Thanks for all being here. And next show, we'll hopefully have a guest announcement to lay out for the beginning of next month. And it'll be very exciting. So we'll see you on the next one next Thursday.
Bruce?
Yeah. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming in. And Bob's still giving away free coupons for Mikey's models.
Bob's good about
Good job, Bob. Thanks, Bob. Yay. Have a great weekend, everybody.
All right, guys. So we hope that you learned something, or at least got reinforced on some of your choices on your adhesives tonight. We fluffed old Tom's pillow a bunch, but we want to thank the chat. I know collectively we want to thank the chat. Thank you guys for coming back. We see a lot of the same faces. You guys are awesome. Thank you so very much. We're going to get bigger. We're going to get better, and we're going to be able to bring more stuff to you. Like Jason said, we've got some really, really interesting and really cool industry leaders and products that we want to bring to you guys. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Appreciate all y'all. Y'all be good, be kind to each other, and those big old thumbs ups, man. Y'all be good. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.